Today let's start with properties of a function. Okay, so the limit of a function at a point, if it exists, is unique. That means limit of a function at a point exists. That means limit exists, then it is unique. Limit for a function exists, then it is unique. Uniqueness of limit of a function. So let's get into the proof. Suppose limit of f of x exists. We will take the limit exists and is not unique, and we have to prove it is not unique. We are taking the contradiction proof. Okay, so let limit x tends to a, f of x is equal to L1. That means the limit is L1, and limit x tends to a, f of x is equal to L2, where L1 is not equal to L2. Because we said the limit is not unique. Unique means we have only a single limit for this function. We are saying no, we have more than one limit. So we are taking for the same function we have two limits. The limits are L1 and L2, where L1 is not equal to L2. Without loss of generality, we can say that L2 is greater than L1. Choose epsilon is equal to L2 minus L1 divided by 2. We will assume that L2 is greater than L1, as well as epsilon is equal to L2 minus L1 divided by 2. Okay. So now limit x tends to a, f of x is equal to L1. That implies for all epsilon is greater than 0, there exists a positive real number delta which is greater than 0, delta 1 which is greater than 0, such that we have a definition of limit of a function mod of f of x minus L1 is less than epsilon, whenever 0 is less than mod of x minus a less than delta 1. So we can write for this limit of a function L1 at the point x tends to a, there exists an epsilon which is greater than 0. If epsilon exists, there exists one more positive real number which is delta 1. If these both exist such that mod of f of x minus L1 is less than epsilon, we have one more condition. Whenever the mod of x minus a is between 0 to delta 1, that is 0 less than mod of x minus a less than delta 1. This we will take it as equation 1. Likewise, we will take the second limit of the same function, limit x tends to a, f of x is equal to L2. That implies there exists epsilon which is greater than 0. That means we are taking that there exists one more real number delta 2 which is greater than 0, such that mod of f of x minus L2 is less than epsilon whenever 0 less than mod of x minus a less than delta 2. This is mod of x minus a. So from equation 1 and 2, we can consider and we can have a conclusion. From that we can prove. Okay, so before that we have delta 1 and delta 2. We will take delta to be the minimum of both delta 1 and delta 2. If we are taking delta to be the minimum of both delta 1 and delta 2, what can we say? We can say the same thing. Same sentences can be repeated, right? That is, delta is smaller quantity of the two quantities, delta 1 and delta 2. So from equation 1 and 2, can I say mod of f of x minus L1 is less than epsilon and mod of f of x minus L2 is less than epsilon? Yes, that was the conclusion for us, right? Yes. From these, whenever 0 less than mod of x minus a less than delta, we had delta 1 and delta 2. Now we have combined that, taking the minimum to as a minimum as delta. We can write this as 0 less than mod of x minus a less than delta. Consider L2 minus L1 is equal to, yes, here we are just taking L2 minus L1, L2, L1, and we are adding and subtracting f of x, which does not change the, yes, value of the given thing. That is, L2 minus L1 value also will be same and L2 minus L1 value also will be same if I add and subtract the same number, right? Same function I am adding and subtracting. So this, if I take mod on both sides, I should write it as less than or equal to, right? So less than or equal to mod of L2 minus f of x plus f of x minus L1. Okay, now I am splitting this mod, so it will not be equal to this. So I can write it as less than. Okay, now the equality changes to less than. Mod of L2 minus f of x, this I am splitting and this I am splitting as another mod. Okay, so now rewrite this. We can write this as f of x minus L2. Since it is inside the mod, this sign which is changing does not affect the answer. So we can write this way, right? plus f of x minus L1. We know that f of x minus L2 is what? Epsilon. And f of x minus L1 is epsilon. Yes, from which one? Is from here. That is mod of f x minus L1 is less than epsilon. Mod of f x minus L2 less than epsilon whenever 0 less than mod of x minus a less than delta. So from here this is less than epsilon, this is also less than epsilon. Now we know that this is less than epsilon, right? So the less than equality we'll put here. So this is epsilon and this is also epsilon, less than epsilon. So for the under the condition 0 less than mod of x minus a less than delta. So now epsilon plus epsilon gives you 2 epsilon for the same condition we are writing, and L2 minus L1 is less than. Now how can you write this? We knew that epsilon was equal to L2 minus L1 divided by 2. Yes, we considered this, right? Epsilon is equal to L2 minus L1 divided by 2. So what is 2 epsilon? So 2 epsilon will be 2 into L2 minus L1 divided by 2. So 2 and 2 gets cancelled and you will be remaining with L2 minus L1. That is what I have written here. Okay. So we have L2 minus L1. From here this question is less than L2 minus L1. 2 epsilon is nothing but L2 minus L1. For the condition 0 less than x minus a less than 0 less than mod of x minus a less than delta. So can this be possible? Yes, say consider L2 minus L1 was some number. Say the number was 3. 3 is less than 3. Is the condition true? No, which is absurd. The condition is absurd. Therefore, our assumption limit of a function as x tends to a is not unique is wrong. So, what does that mean? That means L1 is equal to L2. This proves that the limit of a function at a point when it exists is unique. That means when the limit exists for a function, the limit will be unique.
Thank you.